he moved it. The other guy from MTA. Okay, am I out of your frame now?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll sit down anyway. I'll sit down.
Yeah? Okay, that's fine.
Assalamu alaikum, the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Welcome to the Mercy for Mankind Charity Challenge Reception 2018, hosted by AMYA Muslim Youth Association. This beautiful venue at City Hall. We're delighted to have with us the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, with us today. We'll commence with the formal proceedings with recitation of the Holy Quran and translation by Imam Mansur Khan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and the blessings of God be upon you all. The portion of the Holy Quran which I'm about to recite is chapter 57, starting on verse 12 and finishing on verse 13. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ماذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه له وله أجر كريم يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم بشراكم اليوم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the ever merciful. Who is he who will lend to Allah a goodly loan? So he will increase it manifold for him, and he will have a noble reward. And think of the day when thou wilt see the believing men and the believing women, their light running before them and on their right hands. And angels will say to them, glad tidings for you this day, of gardens through which streams flow, wherein you will abide. That is the supreme triumph. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There will now be a brief introduction to the AMYA Muslim Youth Association by Kerry Thomas, the British Red Cross.
Salam alaikum. The AMYA Muslim Youth Association in the UK, AMYA, is the UK's oldest, largest and leading Muslim youth organisation, with more than 8,000 young British Muslims as members. AMYA is a registered charity, and one of its key objectives is to serve and to contribute to society at all levels through active integration and engagement, as well as to serve humanity. AMYA's purpose: to engender a spirit of discipline and service to the wider community, irrespective of people's beliefs, race or gender, and the motto, love for all, hatred for none, underpins this ethos. AMYA's central headquarters are Fazal Mosque, which is London's oldest mosque, and Morden Mosque, the UK's largest mosque. As AMYA is self-funded, it relies on donations from its members, and this ensures impartiality and objectivity. And this also reflects the ethos of serving humanity, whatever colour, race, creed or religion. The Mercy for Mankind initiative sees thousands of young Muslims take part in local and regional fundraising events across the whole of the country, as well as larger national events. AMYA has raised money for national charities such as the British Red Cross, Humanity First, the Royal British Legion, NSPCC and Save the Children, as well as a whole host of thoroughly deserving regional charities across the UK. And to date, AMYA has raised an amazing total of more than £4.2 million for British charities. At the British Red Cross, we are privileged to call AMYA our friends. From the first contact we had with Kamal right up until today, we have always been amazed and truly grateful for the dedication and the support that you show to us. Your ethos reflects our own ethos of neutrality, impartiality and humanity. And your charitable service really does display our key message of the power of human kindness. In 2017, when the Manchester attacks devastated the community, AMYA were the first people to contact the British Red Cross and to ask how they could show their support. They organised and manned bucket collections and football matches, among other activities, and we and the community were encouraged by your dedication and your support. And so, on behalf of the British Red Cross, I want to say thank you to AMYA. I want to thank you for welcoming us into your community when you celebrate special occasions. I want to thank you that you go above and beyond whenever you fundraise for us. And I want to thank you that you are always available to help us wherever and whenever you can. The generosity you show to us is life-changing and life-saving. And we are now going to watch a video of some of AMYA's activities over the past year.
That I shall always be ready to sacrifice my life, wealth, time, and honor for the sake of my faith, country, and nation.
At a time when the identity and role of young British Muslims in our society is being scrutinised, one of the longest established Muslim youth groups in the United Kingdom is silently continuing its efforts to bring all communities closer together. The 8,600 strong Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association is dedicated to channeling the vast energy of the youth towards helping all communities with the Islamic spirit of serving mankind regardless of colour, creed, faith or race. Founded in 1938 by the second Caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, the organisation follows his belief in that a nation cannot be reformed without the reformation of its youth.
Credit to the Muslim community, and I hope the whole world knows about all the wonderful things that you've done for us in pouring rain, nasty, dirty conditions, helping a woman on her own with a disabled husband. Thank you very much.
The one thing that always strikes me is just how polite the young people are, how well-mannered and just genuinely friendly. There are some wonderful young people, which I think is a great tribute to the role the Ahmadiyya's play.
Am I right that there have not been, or you're aware of any examples of radicalisation of members of your community in this country?
Yes, absolutely correct.
In fact, there was an article, wasn't there, in the Evening Standard, I think, saying our own London Caliphate is doing nothing but good.
So I think it's great to see, all of you out here today helping us And I think it's also sort of a raising awareness of the fact that, you know, there is more than, I don't know, one type of Muslim, and that some, you know, are very proud of this country and support this country.
The Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association has received various accolades and recognition from charities, dignitaries, friends of the community and the government, including Prime Minister Theresa May and party leaders Jeremy Corbyn and Vince Cable.
ولا تنسوا الفضل بينكم إن الله بما تعملون بصير.
Over the past year, the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association have raised over £1.6 million for various national and international charities, distributed 14,000 food parcels directly to the homeless, visited 6,000 people in hospitals and care homes, donated nearly 10 tons of non-perishable items to food banks across the UK, planted 25,000 trees and volunteered for numerous environmental initiatives, donated 7,000 units of blood, opened 5 new schools in Africa working with Humanity First, contributed 10,000 hours to various humanitarian programs, including 1,000 hours towards the Grenfell relief efforts, built over 20 new water wells, organised a 24-hour football tournament to raise funds for the Manchester Bombing Victims Fund. In memory of our brother who sadly passed away from leukemia, we opened the Gamal Aftab Eye Clinic, carrying out over 400 free eye operations, and supported the Humanity First Global Telethon, which raised over £2.5 million, including funds towards the Rohingya refugee crisis. Started in 1985 by the 4th Caliph, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, the charity challenge consisted of a 26-mile marathon walk, and in its first year raised a few £1,000s for worthwhile causes. It has now evolved into a showpiece event for the association. The charity challenge is entirely organised and managed by the youth, who are unpaid volunteers driven by their spirit of fulfilling their core Islamic duty to serve humanity. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association seeks to promote integration, peace, and a love for humanity, as was encouraged by the holy founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of God be upon him, who said that love for one's country is a part of faith. Inspired by the example of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who Muslims believe was a mercy for mankind, each year thousands of members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, young and old alike, run, hike, cycle or walk to raise money for charity. In this day and age, these teachings are imparted by the leadership of His Holiness, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the Caliph and head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community. This year, the 34th Mercy for Mankind Charity Challenge took place on the 8th of July at Rother Valley in Sheffield. Since its inception, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association has raised in excess of £4.2 million for charity. In the sweltering heat and beautiful surroundings, over 1,000 members of the association took part in a half marathon, running, walking and cycling the route, along with an entertaining water raft challenge, raising over £1 million for UK charities, including the Royal British Legion, Humanity First, Cancer Research, RNIB, and the British Heart Foundation. Youth from across the country came together to practice one of the primary principles in Islam of serving humanity. The funds raised from the charity challenge, in addition to going to numerous charities, will also go towards other worthy causes, such as the Gift of Sight program operated by Humanity First, providing cataract operations to those living in rural areas in Africa. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association hopes that this event will reflect the true teachings of Islam and the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, and whilst raising funds for many worthy charities, will also act as a reminder for Muslims and non-Muslims alike of the importance of serving mankind. It is this fundamental principle that forms the basis for the charity challenge and the work of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association.
I'm seriously impressed with the work that's happened, not just today, but in terms of the charity challenge.
And so for me, it's been a very powerful reminder that we are here to support the most vulnerable. We are here to make a fair society. And to go back to the quote that was on the screen and the quote that Martin gave, it is our duty to not forget to do good to one another. And I'd like us all during this evening to reflect on our duty to help one another. And I thank AMYA UK for giving me that moment of reflection.
May I ask today's representative of Humanity First to come and collect the cheque for £205,000. The Royal British Legion. So could I have today's representative please come forward and join us?
The second primary means of serving mankind is to help people in their time of need and to utilize whatever resources are available in order to bring ease and comfort to those who are deprived or facing trials and tribulations.
Thank you. We're delighted also to have with us Sir Stephen House, Assistant Commissioner for Metropolitan Police, who's also representing the Commissioner, President Dick. I would now like to invite Sir Stephen to say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I say how delighted I am to be present here today to celebrate and publicise the magnificent achievements of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association. It's a great pleasure really for me to be here tonight. I do bring greetings from the Commissioner, Cressida Dick. She was very sorry not to be here. She had a long-standing commitment, I'm afraid, elsewhere. She wasn't able to break that, but she asked me to pass on her congratulations to the association for all that's achieved over the last number of years. So as a stand-in, one of the real reasons I'm pleased to be here is that many years ago, when I was a superintendent in West Yorkshire Police, I was in command of the division that covered the centre of Bradford. And in the centre of Bradford, one of the mosques there was Ahmadiyya Mosque, and I visited it on several occasions and never failed to be impressed by the generosity, by the kindness and by the commitment of the worshippers that I met there. Even there, where they were facing some local difficulties at the time, there was a huge spirit of determination to help the wider community in Bradford, which shone through, did great credit to your community. I was particularly impressed, I think, even in Bradford, I think we saw some examples of it on the video, of the way that the community in the mosque contributed to other local communities across Bradford without fear or favour. And that was something that was always very positively commented upon by a number of people that I knew and worked with in Bradford. And I know that the same is true, in fact, all over the world. I was going to say all over the UK, but all over the world, in fact. Again, much to your credit. The particular work of the Muslim Youth Association in generating so much funds and distributing it so widely and so generously is a real tribute again, I think, to the ethos and to the thinking behind your faith, and probably a lesson for many other parts of the UK community, if I may say so. So obviously I'm here on behalf of the Commissioner and the Metropolitan Police Service. It's the desire of the Commissioner particularly, but also the whole of the organisation that I represent here tonight, to be looked on as the most trusted police force in the world. And it strikes me, reading the literature, watching the video, and thinking back to my time in Bradford, we could probably learn quite a few lessons from your community in how just to do that. But one of the things we could do is to work closely with people like yourselves who are trusted, and work hand in hand with you. So, before I finish, again, thank you for the invitation here today, and also again, thank you for all your efforts in charity across the UK. I just want to mention one specific issue. So, the Mayor is sitting at the table a few down from me, and the Mayor has been very generous in his support of the Metropolitan Police and has recently made some more funds available to us to fight the regrettable increase in violence that we've seen in recent months. Now we are, I believe, starting to stabilise that increase. But I think it's important for me to use this opportunity to speak to yourselves and for you to go and speak to others in your community and ask you to think of this one thing. The Metropolitan Police, because the Mayor's given us more money, is furiously recruiting officers to try and keep London safe. And it strikes me that the Youth Association, and particularly the people in this room who are so influential in the community, could go back and look and see, is there anyone there who they think might be interested in joining the Metropolitan Police Service, who might have the qualities that we want, and I think we know the qualities that we want, and maybe have a word with them, and maybe try and encourage them to at least make contact with us and see if it is a life, if it is a life and a career that they may wish to take part in. If they do wish to, is the advert coming, they can contact us by going online to www.metpolice.uk, and we're there. And it tells you all about how to apply. And I genuinely mean that. You know, London is a really, really huge global city. It needs everybody pitching in to police it and keep it safe. So if there's anything any one of you can do in terms of, if you want to join yourselves, I'm going to be here all night. I'm happy to talk to you about it. Join the Special Constabulary, but particularly we're interested in people from London, from different ethnic backgrounds, joining the police to make it the most trusted police force in the world. So, advert over. Thanks very much for the opportunity to advertise to you and to appeal to you. And I again say thanks very much for the invite and congratulate the Youth Association on all the fantastic work it's done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Stephen. You might actually get people staying all night with you. As you've heard, the Mercy for Mankind Charity Challenge started in 1985 by the then fourth Caliph of the AMYA Muslim community. It was a 26-mile walk, which was around the roads or the lanes of Farnham in Hampshire. At that time we raised a few £1,000s. Today the event has evolved where we are helping to fundraise more than £1 million for British charities. And this is all done by our volunteers who are unpaid. We fundraise directly working with charities, also by providing expertise and logistics and by providing manpower for events. At the same time, I'd like to highlight that the AMYA Muslim community is not a political organisation, nor does it have any political aspirations. Our sole objective is to serve humanity based on the Islamic principles of justice for all, irrespective of your faith or no faith. And with that in mind, we are working with our charitable partners, certain who we have been working with for decades, and we appreciate these relationships. I'd also like to acknowledge the work of our partners like Apple, Umbro and Barclays, who have helped with thousands of pounds of match funding, which means obviously charities get a lot more from the pot. And at this time I'd like to invite my colleague Imran Mirza for the cheque ceremony.
Firstly, I'd like to request Mirza Waqas Ahmed, the President of the AMYA Muslim Youth Association, to please present the cheques to our charities. First, we have Leon Buncombe from the Rugby Portobello Trust, Grenfell. If I could kindly ask her to come forward and receive a cheque of £5,000. And if you could please kindly say a few words.
So we're from the Rugby Portobello Trust, which is in North Kensington. My team were responsible for distributing 16 million to the residents from the Grenfell Tower. These lovely people actually gave us about 45,000 to go towards the pot of money that went to the residents. This money is actually going to be used to sustain our community cafe for the winter term and host a Christmas party as well for people in the local area. So thank you very much and keep up the good work. It's really inspirational.
Next, I'd like to call upon Adam Stokes from Mary Curie to come and collect a cheque of £10,500. Next, I'd like to call upon Dennis Wolford from MKACC to come and collect a cheque of £2,100. Dennis, if I could ask you to come and say a few words.
Good evening. I still believe AMYA is probably one of the best kept secrets in the world. Fantastic work that you do, not just in raising money, but in supporting individuals and communities in distress, and I think we should all try and make far more of that publicly. We're a small trust, we're a small charity based in Milton Keynes. We're a football club. We have a very powerful brand in Milton Keynes, but it wouldn't be important in very many other places. So we asked AMYA, what could we do to help you to raise money for us? And we're really talking here about supporting disability football. For those of you who don't know, we run 20 disability football teams on a weekly basis. That's one hungry animal to feed. Many of those people are from low, no income families. So your unrestricted funding supports us enormously. And when we asked what else we could do, we were able to provide the stadium free of charge. Many people can do that. But AMYA put on a football tournament for 4 teams and raised £5,000, which is phenomenal. We try to support AMYA events, so we recently attended Sheffield and took a beat the goalie competition with disability players and volunteer coaches, and it raised a bit more money. So we asked our people to work for the money they received. The third thing we thought was branding, joint branding. And whilst we may not be known outside Milton Keynes, in Milton Keynes with a powerful brand, we now have AMYA working in partnership with MKACC. That way we can promote what you do off the back of what we already have. It's our way of giving something back. So I'd like to sincerely thank all at AMYA for your ongoing support. It's fantastic, and on behalf of all the players on the club, thank you. But I'd like to ask all of you who work in charities just to take away one question. What can you do to help AMYA raise money for you? Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Next, I'd like to call upon Dr. Ananth from Mind West Cumbria to come and collect a cheque of £2,000. Next, I'd like to call upon Carl Kopak to come and collect a cheque of $4,500 for the British Heart Foundation. Next, if I can call upon Dr. Aziz Hafiz, International Director of Disaster Relief for Humanity First International, to come and collect a cheque of £25,000. And also, if I can request Dr. Aziz to come and say a few words.
Lord Mayor, President of the AMYA Muslim Youth Association, fellow charity reps, guests, the peace and blessing of God Almighty be upon you. On behalf of all the beneficiaries of Humanity First, particularly disaster-hit countries across the world, Humanity First would like to thank AMYA for all the excellent work your passionate volunteers do across the world. Humanity First is a disaster relief NGO founded by the AMYA community and works in disaster-hit countries across the world. We're able to put in more than 90% of the funds that you raise directly on the ground, thanks to our disaster response volunteers and experts that give up their time free of charge across the world. The funds that you have donated tonight will go towards helping poor students in the Palestinian territories to support their university education. They'll also go towards disaster-hit countries to provide food, water and shelter. To end with, I'd just like to thank you again on behalf of all the beneficiaries across the world that will benefit. These people, the likes of Alexandra Gonzalez in Puerto Rico, that's recovering after the Hurricane Maria last year. The likes of Mr. Mohammed Amanullah and his family, who with your money has been able to support his family escaping the ravages and the violence in Myanmar. The likes of Alia Sheikh, who's able to support herself at university in the West Bank. She otherwise would not be able to. And the likes of Mamoon and his family, who as we speak are trying to rebuild their lives in the island of Lombok following the recent earthquake in Indonesia. On behalf of them and the thousands across the world that you are helping, thank you.
If I could call upon Emma White, Head of Trusts and Foundations for the Archie Foundation, to come and collect a cheque of £3,450. Emma, if you'd like to come and say a few words too.
Hi, thank you very much. This is quite incredible. I got on the train this morning in Dundee, and here I am today just now. It's quite different. So the Archie Foundation is a charity that supports children's hospitals in the north of Scotland, and in particular the AMYA Muslim community has been supporting Tayside Children's Hospital. So for the last few years we've been building a relationship and really just getting involved with the work we're doing and the development of the mosque in Dundee as well. So it's been really crucial support. We're trying to raise 2 million and the end is now in sight. And once we raise the 2 million for the brand new twin operating theatre suite, we will then be able to move on to the next projects, supporting sick children in our region, and also then be able to do what Archie gets to do in the rest of Scotland, which is be able to give financial support to children and their families who really need it when they find themselves in hospital without enough money to make it through the visit, and with the loss employment and things that can come with a hospital visit, as well as specialist equipment and specialist staff. So once we get to the end of this project that everyone has been really helping and this money will go towards, we'll be able to move on to really building the new suite and really being able to engage much closer with the community in Dundee, like the Archie Foundation's been doing in Aberdeen for 18 years and the north of Scotland. So it's been really good to work with you, and we did a really exciting fun run in Dundee in Camperdown Park. And the standout moment for me was not only did young people work incredibly hard putting on and promoting this fun run, but also they were there picking up litter. So they did the route, but they were there, nothing was said about the fact that they were doing this, but there they were behind the scenes while they travelled the route through the park, picking up behind everybody else that was enjoying the park for the day. So thank you very much, and enjoy your night. Thanks.
I could now call upon Carol Tunstall, fundraising manager for Watford MKACC, to come and collect a cheque for £20,000. Next, if I could request a representative from Trees for Cities to come and collect their cheque for £1,500. Next, if I could request Karen Phillips, Community Fundraising Manager South East for the Children's Trust, to come and collect their cheque of £1,000. Next, if I could request Jenny Sheriff, Community Fundraising Manager for South West and South East Midlands from the Royal British Legion, to come and collect their cheque for £46,200. Jenny, if I could ask you to kindly come and say a few words.
Hello, good evening. An amazing job is done by the representatives of AMYA who turn up every year to help with the Poppy Appeal. In fact, just over within shouting distance of here, London Poppy Appeal is being launched over there tonight. And I know that many of you will be out helping the Poppy Appeal. But you know what? This changes people's lives. Let me tell you a story. Anna Pollock served in the RAF for 7 years. She met her husband Scott, who was a Marine. She was very fit and healthy, she ran everywhere, she was called the Duracell Bunny. She ran all the time, she jumped, she climbed, she had 3 children with Scott. She decided to leave the RAF and then he was going to pursue his career. They got a dream posting to Gibraltar, where she was going to set up her own fitness organisation and work for herself. The night before they were due to fly out to Gibraltar, she woke up in intense pain. She had a bleed on her spine. She was blue lighted to a hospital where they had an X-ray machine, but she needed an MRI scan. So they blue lighted her to another hospital where they had an MRI scan, but they didn't have a surgeon. By the time she got into a hospital where there was a surgeon, he said, "It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like you're ever going to walk again." She managed to get her operation, and she managed to start to get a little bit of feeling back. The Royal British Legion got involved. The Royal British Legion supported the family. The Royal British Legion sent them together as a family to try and rejoin their life back together, where Anna had spent so long on painkillers that all she ever did was wake up in time to see her children before school, go back to sleep and wake up again when they came back from school. She had no life. She got her life back. The Royal British Legion sent them on a family holiday, believe it or not, to a caravan. They decided at that time that actually, you know what, we can have our life back, we can be together again as a family, and we can be a family again. She started to get some exercise. She tried out a recumbent bike. The Royal British Legion paid for a recumbent trike for her, and she started to get more and more fitness back. She went to the Invictus Games. She won 3 bronze medals. On Thursday last week, she set off from Eltham Palace, and on Sunday late afternoon, she cycled up to the Arc de Triomphe with 285 riders, raising money for the Royal British Legion. Anna's got her life back because of the work that the Royal British Legion does, and the only way that we can do it is because people like you go out and collect money for the Poppy Appeal. So thank you so much. You change people's lives. Thank you.
I'd now like to call upon Jonathan Tebble from Great Ormond Street Hospital to come and collect their cheque of £3,000. Next we have Mary Wilson, Fundraising Engagement Manager London for Click Sergeant, to come and collect a cheque of £2,250. Next I'd like to call upon Kerry Thomas, Community Fundraising Manager for the British Red Cross, to come and collect their cheque for £24,400. Kerry, if I could ask you to come and say a few words, please.
I just want to talk a little bit, just very quickly, about the Manchester attacks. And when they struck, when children and young people were watching an Ariana Grande concert last year, nobody could believe what they were seeing on the television, I don't think, and what they were hearing. And the Red Cross got into action, and we did things that changed people's lives that night. We went to hospitals and we took home people who were well enough to go home, but had no way of getting home, and so it freed up beds for people. We offered psychological support by just being there, just listening to the stories people had to tell of the things that they'd experienced that night. We made cups of tea, we listened. You may have seen on Britain's Got Talent a young girl called Holly, who we gave a wheelchair to. She was injured and her aunt was killed in the Manchester attacks. And when she went onto Britain's Got Talent with her dance group, we provided wheelchairs so that all of her group could dance in wheelchairs and make Holly feel part of that again. We can only do the things that we do because of people like you, and we just want to say thank you so much. We love working with AMYA. You're our friends, you're our partners, and you're people who we hugely respect and are very, very grateful to. Thank you.
I'd now like to call upon Julie Spence from Macmillan Cancer Support to come and collect their cheque of £3,000. Next, I'd like to call upon colleague Chris Edwards from Humanity First to come and collect their cheque of £350,000. Colleague, if you could please come and say a few words.
That's not good. I feel rather spoiled, really. We've got the biggest one. But anyway,
I was once upon a time not a Muslim, and then I converted to Islam and I joined the AMYA Muslim Association, and I was a youth. However, now I'm not a youth. I'm an elder. But I really want to thank all the youth for helping us in our journey in Humanity First. So I'm a trustee of Humanity First, so it's an onerous task to make sure that every penny of this gets spent wisely. I'd also like to thank all the youth that have helped us for the blank cheque of their time. We've got the HF UK directors have been set up, and none of us are paid. We're all quite well paid in our normal day jobs, so we've got one lad's just left his busy job to go fly around Uganda and check that the water wells are working fine and do all these amazing projects. So again, if you don't join the police, please join us on your holidays. Come and do time you'll get to eat not the best food in the world. You won't stay in the most exotic place in the world, but you can really do tremendous work. My sons went to Gambia, learned to taught a bit of A-level maths to Gambian students. Learned not to drink the wazo, the local Gambian drink that was probably not probably designed for their weak immune system. But Humanity First has done amazing things. So I don't need to say you watch the video. We're great. Dr. Aziz stole all the best lines, but we are doing great things. We're also helping UK people as well. We're starting a UK. We've been in the last couple of years. We're doing a UK project. We've got a lot of lonely old ladies in Kew, that we take to Kew Garden. So we're trying to partner up. So if you think that, as you see with all these volunteers we've got, we're always interested in growing partnerships in the UK and abroad. So if you think you've got a good idea, we're going to do some homeless dentistry. We've got a great dentist that goes to Gambia. So we've got our mobile dentistry van coming shortly. So that will be roaming around the streets of London doing dentistry. So if you've got any great ideas, we're always open to that. And again, thanks to the AMYA Muslim Association Youth for all of the time you put in. So thank you very much.
I'd now like to invite the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, to come and collect his cheque of £5,000 for the Mayor's Fund for London.
Whoa, photographers!
Sadiq, if you could please stay there and also present the following two very special cheques. First of which is for Cancer Research UK. I'd like to request Laura McGadney to come and collect their cheque of £303,500. Laura, if you could please come and say a few words.
Hi. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much. I just want to say a massive thank you to AMYA. They are incredible supporters. Whenever I approach them for any idea, any collection, ask them to help out with events, I'm always met with the most enthusiastic, yes, what can we do? They're one of the only supporters that have ever asked me, is there a maximum amount of people we can bring, rather than how many do we need to bring? We don't get any government funding from as Cancer Research UK, and our aim is to reach having 3 in 4 people surviving cancer by 2034. And it's thanks to the incredible support of organisations like AMYA that we are one step closer to that day. So thank you so much. Thank you guys.
And finally, I'd like to request Rupert Amin, the head of community fundraising for NSPCC, to come and collect her shield. AMYA Muslim Youth Association has raised £88,000 this year for NSPCC. And that concludes the Cheque presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have the Mayor of London for this, Ali Khan. I would like him to invite him to address us now.
Brothers and sisters, friends, Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to be here tonight and an honour to welcome you all to City Hall. I hope you've enjoyed, as much as I have, the cheque giving ceremony. Groups from as far as Dundee to Milton Keynes, and I don't begrudge non-London groups getting some money, so no problem at all. I understand there were plans to have music and dancing this evening, but apparently some people raised some concerns that it might be inappropriate, as there was a worry I might imitate some of Theresa May's dancing moves. Rest assured there's no danger of me doing the robot for two reasons. One, because I fear Assistant Commissioner Stephen House may arrest me for crimes against the arts. And secondly, I'm more of a floss man. But seriously, it's fantastic to have this opportunity to pay tribute to the AMYA Muslim Youth Association. I want to begin by thanking your General Secretary, Farouk Aftab, for helping to organise this event. Let's please show him our appreciation. As Mayor, it's always important for me that we celebrate the contribution made by all Londoners to our city, regardless of race, religion, gender or background. Because it's Londoners of every class, colour and creed who make our city what it is, the greatest city in the world. The AMYA community is no exception. You help to show that our diversity is a strength, not a weakness, and a source of pride and progress rather than discord and disagreement. The proactive approach you take to building stronger and more integrated communities, guided by the mantra, love for all, hatred for none, is an example for others to follow. Whether it's your organisation's commitment to engaging with civic society, the positive role you play in bringing people from all walks of life together, or the amazing charity work you undertake, you help to show the true values of faith and religion. And as Mayor of London, I want to say a massive thank you for everything you do and for helping to build a better, richer and more inclusive city. I know your charity work makes a real difference, only here in London and the UK, but as we've heard around the world, from your involvement with the Royal British Legion's Poppy Appeal, as we've heard, to the millions you raise for charitable causes across the globe as part of your Mercy for Mankind challenge, as we've heard. I was exhausted watching the people running, walking, cycling and hiking. You are a credit to this city and to the international, outward-looking, cosmopolitan traditions that define London. But what impresses me most is your willingness to reach out to other communities and the time, energy and effort you invest in promoting trust and mutual understanding. I've endeavoured to do the same as the Mayor, whether it's through interfaith dialogue or my London is Open campaign, because I believe in building bridges, not walls. I believe we should respect, celebrate and embrace each other's differences rather than simply tolerate them. And I believe that an appreciation of our common humanity, of our common hopes, dreams and destiny is the basis of a truly civilised society. Friends, we know there are people out there who want to divide us, who seek to drive a wedge between communities in the hope that we turn on one another. For that reason, the task of bringing people together challenging negative stereotypes, and breaking down misconceptions has never been more urgent. In the polarised political climate we're in, the task can often seem difficult, daunting even, and at a time when commentators talk of a clash of civilizations, it's easy to feel demoralised and despondent. But if anything, or anyone convinces me it's possible to rise to the challenge of fashioning a more cohesive society, it's London's young people, people like you. When I see the power of your idealism, the clarity of your convictions, and the examples of your actions, I know that as a society we can continue to move forward. We can foster a greater consciousness of our common humanity, and we can strengthen bonds that ultimately bind us all together. So thank you again for all that you do, and may you continue to do so for many, many years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. I would now like to invite for concluding remarks our National Youth President, Ms. MKACC.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. I would first of all like to thank everyone, and in particular the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, for taking his Mercy for Mankind Charity Challenge initiative is one of the many projects being run by the AMYA Muslim Youth Association. The AMYA Muslim Youth Association serves as a movement to proactively involve its youth members to help them build their moral, physical, and spiritual character. I would like to take a moment to highlight some of the work of the AMYA Muslim Youth Association and the philosophy and motivation behind the work. All other associations' numerous activities are based on the dual Islamic principle of serving the Creator and serving God's creation. We have experienced that direct human engagement by bringing the youth together on positive initiatives is a powerful method of tackling many of the issues the youth are facing today. The AMYA Muslim Youth Association is structured in a way that it is entirely run voluntarily by the youth, providing the opportunity for them to become creative and find solutions to the issues they and others of their age are facing. To do this on a wide scale, over 140 local chapters, 20 regional chapters, and a range of national departments are run by the local young Ahmadi Muslims, engaging over 8,500 children and young men. The local chapters, regional and national chapters regularly organize opportunities for their members to come together through regular, weekly, monthly, and annual country-wide initiatives. The initiatives are based on academic, humanitarian, physical, and social projects. Academic classes are held in local centers and mosques, not only focused around matters related to Islam, but also focusing on providing mentorship in school curriculum. Youth are engaged through study circles where sometimes difficult social issues affecting the youth are discussed in an open and comfortable environment. A large amount of youth are regularly involved in the sports activities that happen on a monthly and weekly basis around the UK. The humanitarian efforts are aside from this, as has been made clear from the presentation on the screen. From a young age, an Islamic sense of serving humanity is instilled within the members of the association. With this large number of activities happening and a young structure and culture that is focused on reaching out to those who need help, it enables us to actively also reach out to youth who may feel they are not cared for and feel alienated or are stuck in some form of social vicious circle. The Youth Association engages through positive and engaging programs which brings people together. This in turn has the potential to fight problems affecting youth, whether social or economic. We have this special department focusing on students, and the department focused on helping youth find employment. Not only do the youth help fight the problems other youths are facing, but they regularly organize outreach programs by holding interfaith dialogue in universities, colleges, and mosques. They regularly reach out to people on the street and online to dispel misunderstandings about the peaceful teachings of Islam. Thus, a large proportion of the association is engaged and knows where to turn when they are facing any issues, and the Youth Association organically serves as a support network for the youth. The values and motivation of the Youth Association are spearheaded by the world head and fifth caliph of the AMYA Muslim community, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. His Holiness regularly encourages and guides the AMYA Muslim Association towards understanding and following the true peaceful teaching of Islam. Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, while speaking at one of the annual youth gatherings, said, "Always keep in mind the Quranic principle given in chapter 2, verse 149, in which Allah the Almighty has said that every person has goals and ambitions, and that the targets for believers should be to excel in virtue, and that they should vie with one another in good works. Thus, all members of the AMYA Muslim Youth Association, young and old, should remember that to be last as a true believer, they must always have the ambition to excel in all forms of goodness and continually seek to better themselves spiritually and morally. To compete with one another in good deeds is one of the major source of youth reformation within the AMYA Muslim Youth Association, and it is in this spirit that we try to broaden our work year in and year out and try to raise more and more funds for the needy through initiatives such as the Mercy for Mankind Charity Challenge. So I would once again like to thank all those who have come to join us at this event. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, before dinner is served, we formally conclude our events with a silent prayer. You may join us if you wish to and pray in whatever way you feel comfortable. I request Mr. Masood Shah to lead us in silent prayer.
Will you please join me in silent prayer, please?
Please remain seated. Dinner will be served shortly.